day, everyone. How are you? Are you doing fine? Oh, great. So before I properly start my discussion, I would like you to prepare yourselves for a prayer. Now let us close our eyes and bow down our heads and let us put ourselves in the holy presence of the Lord as we say this prayer.
Almighty and ever-living God, as we begin our class today, we give you praise and thanks for everything we have, for everything we do, and for everything we will partake. We ask your guidance, your protection, and your grace as we continue with our journey today. May your divine light guide our path, and your loving arms hold ours so that we may be led to the path you have designed for us. Make us more resilient in difficult times like this, and make us stronger so that we will have the courage to face the future with confidence. We are thankful for this grace of being able to study despite of this pandemic, and that we also pray for those who are less fortunate, who cannot make it for whatever reason may it be this school year because of this pandemic. We pray, O Lord, heal those who are sick, bless the frontliners, and protect us from this disease. Our family, our friends, our classmates, our teachers, and all who have entrusted themselves for your protection. This we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Okay, now I have prepared a mind energizer for all of you. Now I want you to stay focused on the screen and answer these following riddles. Can you answer these following riddles? And now let's see who will be the first one to get the correct answer. Roll VTR.
Riddle me this. Miss Goldie died on stage in the middle of a concert. She was truly the greatest singer of the joint. When the police arrived, they questioned the last 4 people who spoke to her. Louie, her manager. She complained about having back pain, so I gave her one of my Vicodin pills, but that was 2 hours before the concert. I really don't think that could have had an effect. Emily, her best friend. I'm sure it's Daisy. She slept with her boyfriend behind her back and was jealous of her talent. Daisy, a fellow singer. I might have fooled around with Max, but it's over now. He chose her, and I respect that. Max, her boyfriend. This is insane. Today was our anniversary. I was about to propose after the concert. My last moment with her was enjoying some champagne and massaging her back before the gig. The police arrested Daisy. However, they are wrong, and you know it. What would you say to save her from prison? Are you a good enough detective to save Daisy before the police lock her up? If you've seen all 10 episodes, you should be able to figure out that it was an accident and Daisy had nothing to do with it. It was the mix between the Vicodin and the champagne that killed Miss Goldie. Riddle me this. After a big storm, the captain of a Japanese ship is found dead. The master-at-arms suspects murder and questions 4 crew members. The cook saw nothing. because he was prepping breakfast. The quartermaster was doing inventory as the storm knocked down a lot of crates. The armorer could not have seen a thing. He was fixing the flag that was upside down. The first mate was hiding below deck up to 10 a.m. because he was seasick. Who did it? Tick-tock, tick-tock. Time is running out. The timer is nearly at 0. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down. The armorer. The flag of Japan cannot be upside down. Riddle me this. Mr. Smith was found dead on Tuesday by his wife. When the police arrived, they realized that he had been killed in the morning 2 days prior. They questioned the 4 suspects. Amy, the wife. I'm sorry I didn't call sooner. We had a fight and he retreated into his office. I didn't know he'd been killed. Rory, the cook. I wasn't there the whole week, so I have no idea what happened. Clara, the maid. I was at the post office that morning. I could not have been there. Pete, the butler. Hey, it's no secret that I never liked him. But there'd been a party the day prior, so I woke up late that morning. Who is the killer? I'm sure you already know. You don't? Must think faster. Must think faster. Clara, the maid. If he was killed 2 days before Tuesday, that would be Sunday. She claimed she was at the post office, which are closed on Sundays. Riddle me this. A woman is staying at a hotel. She hears a knock at her door. She opens and sees a surprised man. I'm so sorry. I thought this was my room. Panicked, the woman calls 911 immediately. Why does she call them? Have you already figured this one out? I don't believe you. Are you sure you got it? Use these 10 seconds wisely. He was probably a thief. If it was his door, he wouldn't have knocked on it. Once upon a time, a dying king had no queen or relatives. He wanted to find an heir to the throne. He gave all the children in his land a seed and said, I will crown the one with the most beautiful plant. A year later, he gathered all the children. They all had beautiful, big plants, except for one little girl who had an empty pot. And yet, the king decided to crown her. Why? Want your riddle to be animated? Join our group, Riddle Me This, Expert Solvers. Have you guessed what swayed the king's mind? Are you of royal blood? Did she kill a dragon with her plant? Why did he choose her? Because he gave spoiled seeds to everybody. She was the only one who didn't cheat. Riddle me this.
Okay, great! I bet you all got the correct answer. And thank you for participating. Now to properly start my lesson, I have here a video for you to watch. Now I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
A genetic disorder is a genetic problem caused by one or more abnormalities in the genome, especially a condition that is present from birth, congenital. Most genetic disorders are quite rare and affect one person in every several thousands or millions. Genetic disorders may be hereditary, passed down from the parents' genes. In other genetic disorders, defects may be caused by new mutations or changes to the DNA. In such cases, the defect will only be passed down if it occurs in the germline. The same disease, such as some forms of cancer, may be caused by an inherited genetic condition in some people, by new mutations in other people, and mainly by environmental causes in other people. Whether, when and to what extent a person with a genetic defect or abnormality will actually suffer from the disease is almost always affected by the environmental factors and events in the person's development. Some types of recessive gene disorders confer an advantage in certain environments when only one copy of the gene is present.
This girl has 6 fingers on her left hand. She has a condition called polydactyly, which causes extra fingers or toes. Her father and grandmother, as well as some of her cousins, also have the condition. This should give you a clue about how she came to have it. Any ideas? Well, polydactyly is an example of a genetic disorder. It is inherited. You inherit genes from your parents, and you have 2 copies of each gene, one from your mother and one from your father. Genes come in different forms, called alleles. Alleles may be recessive or dominant. So going back to polydactyly. Polydactyly is caused by a dominant allele, shown as a capital P. You only have to have one copy of this allele to have the condition. So in an example, the father has a copy of this allele, but the mother does not. We can show this using a genetic diagram. Offspring with one dominant allele, big P, and one recessive allele, little p, will also have the condition, whereas these offspring won't have the condition. Can you see what their genotype must be? Little p, little p. So 2 copies of the recessive allele. Another example of an inherited disorder is cystic fibrosis. If you want to discover more about cystic fibrosis and how it affects the body, then watch this video. Cystic fibrosis is inherited in a different way to polydactyly. Take a look at this genetic diagram and see if you can figure out how it is different. To have cystic fibrosis, you have to inherit 2 recessive alleles. The parents in the diagram are both carriers of the recessive allele, little f. They do not have the disorder themselves, but they could both pass the recessive allele to their children. Quite often, people do not know that they're carriers of cystic fibrosis until they have a child with the disorder. This can be very upsetting, and it is a serious condition. Parents are able to make sure they do not have another child with the disorder using embryo screening. Let's finish off with a little discussion about what embryo screening is. Embryo screening can be used to ensure embryos do not suffer from inherited genetic disorders. To do this, the parents would use in vitro fertilization, which is also known as IVF. IVF is where eggs and sperms are mixed in a dish in a lab outside of the body. Each fertilized egg would be left to grow until it reaches a few cells big, and then one cell from each embryo is removed and its genes tested to see if it has a genetic disorder. Only unaffected embryos, a maximum of 2, would be placed back into the mother's uterus to grow and hopefully develop into a healthy baby. There are many issues surrounding embryo screening. One ethical issue is that the unused embryos' potential lives are destroyed. Also, there are social concerns. IVF is not always successful, and this can be upsetting for the parents and their family. Finally, there are also economic issues because IVF is an expensive process. So there we have a few examples of inherited genetic disorders. These are inherited from your parents, resulting from certain alleles your parents have been carriers of. Sometimes genetic disorders are caused by dominant alleles, like polydactyly, so it can be inherited from one parent. And others are caused by recessive alleles, like cystic fibrosis, so both parents need to carry the allele.
Okay, so have you learned something from the video? If none, then just say yes. Okay, right, so I will now proceed to my discussion about genetic disease.
So I will now discuss some examples of genetic disorders. Our first example here is the cleft lip or palate. It is thought to be caused by a combination of genes and other factors such as things the mother comes in contact with in her environment, or what the mother eats and drinks, or certain medications the mother uses during pregnancy. So anyone can have it. It is most common in some races. Cleft lip appears at birth and it is treated with surgery. So a minimum of one surgery is required to repair a cleft lip. Our next example here is club foot. So anyone can have it. It is present at birth and there are many reasons to have club foot. So the foot and ankle is twisted, making it impossible to walk. So as you can see there in the picture, and it is treated with surgery and shoes. In club foot, the tissues connecting to the muscles to the bone are shorter than usual. Most cases of club foot can be successfully treated with surgery. For the majority of babies, stretching and reshaping the foot is the best treatment option. The third one is color blindness. So if you have color blindness, it means you see colors different than the most people. It is a genetic condition caused by a difference in how one or more of the light-sensitive cells found in the retina of the eye respond to certain colors. It is sex-linked, most common to the males. It is present at birth, and it is an inability to distinguish certain colors. Sad to say, there is no cure, but however, you can learn to accommodate it. Special glasses and contact lenses can also help. Color vision deficiency can range from mild to severe, depending on the cause. Color blindness isn't common in females because there's a low likelihood that a female will inherit both genes required for the condition. Color blindness in males is much more common. The next one is cystic fibrosis. So it is a progressive genetic disease that causes persistent lung infection and limits the ability to breathe over time. It is a recessive genetic, so it usually present at birth and can show up later. It is due to lack an enzyme, so mucus build up, especially in lungs and digestion. It is treated with drugs and pounding on back. Lung disease eventually worsens to the point where the person is disabled. As you can see here in the picture, nihubagi ang kamot, it's because there is a dysfunctional of the protein. Now next is diabetes. Anyone can get it. It occurs at birth or can happen later. Many factors, including genetics and overweight, can worsen diabetes. So it is an abnormal metabolism of sugar and insulin. It can be treated with insulin and diet. So diabetes is the condition in which the body does not properly process food for use as energy. Even though there is no diabetes cure, it can still be treated and controlled, and some people may go into remission. To manage diabetes effectively, you need to manage your blood sugar levels. Now next one is Down syndrome. It is a condition in which a person has an extra chromosome. So chromosomes are small packages of the genes in the body. So more common to young or older parents or genetic tendency. It is present at birth and it is due to the 21st chromosome error. Varies from mild to severe, and the surgery for heart defect help us needed. Down syndrome cannot be cured. Early treatment programs can help improve skills. With support and treatment, many people with Down syndrome live happily and productive lives. Next one is hemophilia. So it is usually an inherited bleeding disorder in which the blood does not clot properly. This can lead to spontaneous bleeding as well as bleeding following injuries or surgery. It is sex-linked, most common to males. It is present at birth, it is genetic, and it is due to absence of clotting factor. It is treated with transfusions and avoid injury. The best way to treat hemophilia is to replace the missing blood clotting factor so that the blood can clot properly. Hemophilia is a rare blood disease that usually occurs in males. It is extremely rare for women to be born with the condition because of the way it's passed down genetically. So next one is Huntington's disease or chorea. It is a progressive brain disorder caused by a defective gene. This disease causes changes in the central area of the brain which affect the movement, mood, and thinking skills of a person. It is a genetic. It shows up in the middle age. It is due to deterioration of body and brain, leading it to death. Sad to say, there is no cure. Huntington's disease usually results in death within 10 years after symptoms develop. The cause of death usually is a complication of Huntington's, such as pneumonia, heart failure, or infection. There is no cure and it is fatal. Next is hydrocephalus. The term hydrocephalus is derived from the Greek word hydro, meaning water, and cephalus, meaning the head. It is a condition in which excess cerebrospinal fluid builds up within the fluid containing cavities or ventricles of the brain. Anyone can get it. It is present at birth or acquired later. Many factors can cause it. So fluid builds up on brain, causing the brain damage. Surgery to put in shunt. So hydrocephalus is a chronic condition. It can be controlled but usually cannot be cured. Possible causes of acquired hydrocephalus include bleeding inside the brain, blood clots in the brain, or meningitis. So the next is Marfan syndrome. It is caused by a mutation in a gene called FBN1. The mutation limits the body's ability to make proteins needed to build connective tissue. So it is a genetic and it is very rare. It is present at birth and its condition is heart malformed, hearing loss, long and bony limbs. It is treated with heart surgery, medicine, and therapy. The effects of Marfan syndrome range from mild to life-threatening. The most serious complications include damage to the heart valves, aorta, or both. People with Marfan syndrome are often very tall and thin. Their arms, legs, and fingers and toes may seem out of proportion, too long for the rest of their body, and their joints may be weak and easily become dislocated. Now, we have the next one, muscular dystrophy. So what is muscular dystrophy? Do you have an idea about it? So muscular dystrophies are a group of muscle diseases caused by a mutation in a person's genes. Over time, muscle weakness decreases mobility, making everyday tasks difficult. So it is an X-linked genetic. It is present at birth or may be present later in life. It is a weakening and wasting away of muscles, sometimes death, and sad to say there is no cure. There is currently no cure for muscular dystrophy, but a variety of treatments can help to manage this condition. Now next is sickle cell anemia. So, a sickle cell anemia is an inherited red blood cell disorder in which there aren't enough healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen throughout the body. As you can see in the picture, the red blood cells are shaped like sickles or crescent moons, so anyone can get it, and more common in blacks. It is present at birth, a genetic recessive, abnormal blood cells misshaped and unable to carry oxygen, and it is treated with transfusion. The reason why so many black people have sickle cells is that having the trait makes people more resistant to malaria. Well, malaria is a huge problem in sub-Saharan Africa. So the next one is Tay-Sachs disease. So have you heard this kind of disease? Well, it is a rare disorder passed from parents to child. More common in Jews, ethnicity, but not religion. Having Tay-Sachs disease diagnosed by 6 months or dies around at the age of 3 to 5. So how sad? Well, it is a genetic recessive. It is an inability to break down fatty deposits in the brain. Nervous system shut down, and sad to say there is no cure. There is no cure for this disease, but some treatments can help in managing symptoms. The goal of treatment is support and comfort. The next one is cerebral palsy. So it is usually caused by a problem that affects the development of a baby's brain while it's growing in the womb. It is a brain malformed, injured at birth, or damaged later in life. Well, it is not inherited. It ranges from super intelligent to severely retarded. It affects brain's ability to control muscles and treat the symptoms. So there's no currently cure for cerebral palsy, but treatments are available to help people with condition be as active and independent as possible. The next one is thalassemia. So it is a blood disorder caused when the body doesn't make enough of protein called hemoglobin, an important part of red blood cells. So it is a genetic and recessive, more common in Greeks and Italians. It is present at birth. Abnormal red blood cells, not enough red blood cells, and it is treated with blood transfusion. So like adults, children with severe thalassemia need frequent blood transfusion to get rid of excess iron in the blood. So the last one is spina bifida. So have you heard about this disorder? Well, spina bifida is a condition that affects the spine and is usually apparent at birth. Anyone can get it, and many factors can cause spina bifida. It can be a slight cyst on the spine to open spine. Legs are paralyzed and poor bladder control. It can be treated with surgery and therapy. Women who are obese, which have a body mass index of 30 or more, are more likely to have a child with spina bifida. than those of the average weight. Also, women with diabetes may have an increased risk of having a child with spina bifida. So these examples are not just merely the only examples of genetic disorder or disease. I just get some of it, and I believe there are still more genetic disorder examples that are not mentioned a while ago. Now, let's proceed to gene hunting. Have you heard about gene hunting? Do you have any idea about it? Okay, so what is gene hunting? So a gene hunting is the process of finding genes that contribute to individual differences in phenotypes. The phenotypes may be diseases and disorders or part of normal variation. So the goal of gene hunting is to locate genes behind complex diseases to provide medications to cure disease, such as diabetes or cancers. Now let's proceed to cancer. So what is cancer? Cancer is the name given to a collection of related diseases. In all types of cancer, some of the body cells begin to divide without stopping and spreading into surrounding tissues. Cancer can start almost anywhere in the human body, which is made up of billions of cells. Normally, human cells grow and divide to form new cells as the body needs them. When cells grow old or become damaged, they die, and new cells take their place. Cancer arises. So cancer is a genetic disease. That is, it is caused by changes to genes that control the way our cells function, especially how they grow and divide. Genetic changes that cause cancer can be inherited from our parents. They can also arise during a person's lifetime as a result of errors that occur as cells divide or because of damage to DNA caused by certain environmental exposures. Now the next one is superbugs. So what is superbugs? Well, superbugs are bacteria or fungi that have developed the ability to withstand commonly prescribed drugs. A superbug can infect anyone, but some people may have a higher risk for this infection because they've been exposed to superbugs in a medical facility or have a weakened immune system because of a chronic illness. So it is, as you can see here in the illustration, how superbugs scatter from other person. So from mixed bacteria population infects person, then that person will drink an antibiotics, and then antibiotics kill non-resistant bacteria. Then next, after the person will drink antibiotics, the resistant bacteria will multiply, and then the bacteria will spread. Resistant bacteria infects a new person. So after the new person can be infected by the bacteria or the superbugs, that person will drink an antibiotics again. But however, antibiotics will fail to kill the resistant bacteria. So there is a increasing resistance.
So that would be the end of my discussion. What have you learned about my discussion? I hope you've learned something from it. So before I will properly end my session, I have here a video clip for you to watch. Roll VTR.
strong enough for surgery. Okay.
Sarah, let's take a walk.
Something in your eyes makes me wanna lose myself. Makes me wanna lose myself in your arms. There's something in your voice makes my heart beat fast. Hope this feeling lasts rest of my life. If you knew how lonely my life has been, and how long I've been so alone. And if you knew how I wanted someone to come along and change my life the way you've done. It feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I come from. It feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong.
I didn't have cancer. I never would have found you.
A window breaks down a long dark street, and a siren wails in the night. But I'm alright, 'cause I have you here with me, and I can almost see through the dark there is light. And if you knew how much this moment means to me, and how long I've waited for your touch. If you knew how happy you are making me, I never thought that I'd love anyone so much. It feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I come from. It feels like home to me. Feels like home to me. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong. Feels like I'm all the way back where I belong.
Okay, thank you everyone. Sad to say, I cannot see your reaction right now. But I have a question and you just need to answer it on your own. What if you are in their situation? Can you handle it? Would you still appreciate the life that you have? Just don't let your struggle become your identity. Remember, you attract the energy that you give off. So always spread the good vibes, think positive, and enjoy life. Just don't give up because God will put you through. And this is Quazel, your teacher for today. God bless. Thank you.